Hello and welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video we're talking about a workout I did this morning using both the Asics Metaspeed Sky Plus and the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus. So the new Sky Plus and Edge Plus are Asics' new top-of-the-range carbon plate racing shoes, big stack shoes designed to going fast, and they're aimed at different running styles, which we'll come on to. Start a few of the key stats around two shoes. They are both £225 in the UK or $250 in the US. The Sky Plus is the slightly lighter shoe. It weighs 209 grams or 7.4 ounces in my UK 9, whereas the Edge Plus is 215 grams or 7.5 ounces. And there's a difference in the drop too. The Sky has a 4mm drop and the Edge has a 8mm drop. They both have a heel stack that goes right up to 39mm, bumping up against that World Athletics limit. Now we're going to do a lot more talk about the kind of design and stuff of the shoes in the full reviews of both. We've already got a Sky Plus review up and the Edge Plus review will follow, but I want to highlight some of the differences between them here before talking about the workout this morning. So these shoes are aimed at different runners. The Sky Plus is aimed at stride runners who have a big, bouncy running style and increase their stride length when they run fast, whereas the Edge Plus is aimed at more shuffly runners who increase their cadence in particular when they're running fast. Now, I am a cadence runner, so in theory the Edge Plus should be a great shoe for me. It's the first time I've used the Edge model from Asics today, having used both the Sky and the Sky Plus. And enjoyed them very much despite not being the typical stride runner. So the couple of the key differences between the shoes along with the drop are that the Sky Plus, the carbon plate is placed higher in the shoe. The idea being that the bouncier runner, the stride runner, puts more force onto the shoe and compresses the foam underneath the plate and gets a bigger kind of bounce back, whereas the Edge has the foam lower down in the shoe and it's more scooped. The idea being it promotes a kind of faster turnover when you're shuffling along, and it keeps you getting into a kind of flowing running style there where the plate almost tips you forward and then you get a bit of bounce from the foam off your toe off. The Edge Plus also has a longer toe spring. You can see that there compared to the Sky Plus's slightly snub-nosed one, which again just encourages that kind of forward transition for the shufflier runner. Other than that, the shoes are pretty similar. They're the same motion wrap kind of mesh upper, and the midsole is made from Asics' nylon-based FF Blast Turbo foam. They are top super foam, and the outsole's similar in design as well. You've got generous forefoot coverage on both shoes and then kind of two strips of rubber at the back. You see the Edge Plus has a little bit of a cutout on the rubber of the outsole there, and I think it maybe extends slightly further back, although it's quite hard to tell really. Neither of them go all the way back with the rubber on the shoes, which is why you can get a little bit of damage if you're a heel striker like myself. So yeah, like I say, there'll be loads. If you want more in-depth info on the design, do check out our full reviews of the shoes. But now let's dive into the workout. So I'm just heading out to do my first run in the Asics Metaspeed Edge Plus. I've got a good workout today, doing 5 sets of 3, 2, 1 minute reps. So kind of like 60 seconds break between the reps. Looking to push kind of towards, I guess, kind of 5k, 10k race paces during the reps in general. Because I've got 5 sets, I thought I'd probably do 3 or 4 of them in the Edge Plus, and then I'll take the Sky along, hide it in a bush somewhere and try and swap to that for 1 or 2 sets at the end, just to see how they feel at that pace compared to the Edge Plus. We'll see. Maybe I were too knackered to change the shoes. Maybe someone will find my bag and steal those shoes, but hopefully it'll be a good chance to put the shoes up against one another just to see how they feel at those kind of paces in the same workout. So I've just finished up the workout. Good news, it all went very well and my shoes did not get stolen on this quiet industrial estate where I hid the shoes. To be fair, I have put a pair of gloves aside here during a workout once and they did get nicked, which is surprising. There's no people here. Anyway, so I did the first 3 sets of 3, 2, 1 in the Metaspeed Edge Plus, and then I did the second 2 sets, well, the last 2 sets in the Sky Plus. And it was really interesting, I have to say. The Edge felt really good, and that when I swapped, it was very apparent that the Sky did not feel as natural to me on my foot. I am the classic prototypical, like I say, cadence runner who has a very shuffly style, very high cadence. And when I was in the Edge, it felt like I was flowing along very naturally at the pace. And when I put the Sky on, it didn't feel quite right for the first few kind of minute of the first rep in that shoe, really. But what is interesting is when I settled in and almost gave into the shoe and the way the shoe wanted me to run, started lengthening stride a bit, slightly bouncier style, and kind of settled into it. It was working really well for me, the Sky. The pace was good, felt a little more effortless. I was bouncing along almost, whereas the Edge is a very kind of snappy transition to it. Whereas with the Sky, it was more of a kind of bounce. So where I was maybe flowing along a bit better in the edge, maybe, you know, slapping along a bit because I'm not the most elegant runner, with the Sky, it probably looked very similar. I imagine my gait didn't change very much, but it felt like I was working with the shoe and could get a nice bouncy stride of that, and the pace was good. The pace maybe even be better on the final reps, just bouncing along there. Now that said, it's all very positive stuff about the Sky. Obviously a shoe I've used before from my half marathon PB and I like. I feel like it was maybe costing me a little bit more to run the pace in the Sky because it wasn't working with my natural gait so much. So yeah, lots to ponder. I'm actually going to just jog home now. I'll put on both shoes at once for a very short section of that, just to see if I can notice the feel like that. But generally, yeah, it's going to jog home, have a bit more of a think and check in more about the differences between the two shoes. But yeah, that was really interesting. Very enjoyable workout. I loved both shoes, but certainly felt it was slightly different the way I was running in each of them. So just done a little jog with both shoes on at the same time. Metaspeed Edge on my right foot, the Metaspeed Sky on my left foot. And yeah, there is a noticeable difference in feel, like even at slower speeds like this, where the Edge is more snappy, more slappy in transition, throws you forward onto those toes and off you go. Sky is a bit more bouncy, more curved, a little bit smoother. You kind of do get a bit more of a rock and roll to it, I think, than necessarily a huge kind of slap forward of my running style that is as a heel striking shuffler. Sky almost feels more cushioned, I'd say, as well. A little bit softer underfoot, maybe because of the way you don't, you know, get snapped forward onto that forefoot so much. You kind of roll onto it a little more. Anyway, I'm going to put both Edge on now. I think it's probably about enough running in two different shoes. So I found the workout really interesting today in both shoes. I have to say, I've always kind of understood what Asics was going for with this dual, you know, carbon plate shoe approach, but I wondered if the difference was going to be maybe a bit overstated. As a cadence runner who's always really enjoyed the Sky Plus, and I still do after today, I actually thought people shouldn't necessarily be pigeonholed too much into a running style, but it is true to say that the Edge Plus did feel more natural for me with my running style, even if I'm not entirely sure that translated to a much improved performance. I did kind of look at some stats after the run to see if there's any different things like cadence when I was using the different shoes, but there wasn't really. Actually, in terms of cadence, I think that my cadence was probably as high or maybe even slightly higher when using the Sky Plus, which I thought was a bit interesting. But in general, it really was a different feel, and I was left with that feeling that, especially on the longer reps, was just taking a little bit more out of me to run in the Metaspeed Sky Plus because I was adjusting slightly the way I was running to fit with the shoe, whereas the Edge just seemed to work very well for me, very natural with that high drop, keeping me kind of flowing forward as a shuffly runner. Like I say, it is still very close between the two shoes, and I'm very happy using the Sky Plus, and it's still actually, I wouldn't say I prefer the Edge Plus after today. We'll do a lot more testing. We'll try and get some, you know, races in anger in both shoes. I've already obviously run a half marathon in the Sky Plus and PB'd in it, which is why I still like this shoe, but it'll be interesting to see if I can get some hard, longer runs in the Edge Plus in particular, to see if my fatigue is maybe lessened just because I'm working with a shoe that fits my gait a bit more naturally than the Sky Plus, which I have felt like when I was talking about it in the review and after that race, the Edinburgh Half Marathon video we had, I did feel I had to make sure I was really on it and running with purpose to get the most out of the shoe, whereas I can relax a little bit more maybe with the Edge Plus because it is kind of helping me tip forward and working with my natural style a bit more. So yeah, very interesting. Gonna do a load more testing. Got a 15 miler in the Edge Plus this weekend. Mike's obviously got both shoes as well, so we're both gonna do more testing, try and get some races in the Edge Plus and deliver our full review and a full comparison video down the line. I would say one other thing to note about these shoes, which is just an interesting little quirk thing. I've changed shoes a lot, you know, a few times in this workout, including the one change where I had 2 minutes in between, you know, starting a new set to get out of the Edge and into the Sky, and they're very easy to take on and put off. I can see why they're popular with triathletes. I don't do any kind of transitions in my regular training, normal life, for races, but I suppose that was as close to transition as I'll come, and it was remarkably speedy and easy to get these shoes off and on. So yeah, if you're a triathlete, I mean, that is a lot easier than using the Nikes, you know, in terms of putting the Nikes on and off in particular, unless you carry a shoehorn with you on your triathlon.